Welcome to the Low and Slow podcast.
We're your girls, Crystal and Laken. If you press play today, trust, you made the right decision.
And know whenever you're listening to this, it's exactly the right time.
We invite you to pull up a seat to the conversation, get curious about your current perspective,
and lean in for the opportunity to see yourself in another woman's story.
We created That Girl Magic because we've been where you are.
Here, the talk is real and the breath is steady.
Let's get into your next mindset shift.
Welcome back to the Low and Slow podcast, where we are breathing deeper and having conversations that actually change some things. So, Crystal, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about today the real work that happens behind the glow up, right? You ever see that girl? It's like something's different about you and I just cannot put my finger on it. She, maybe she's been working on herself, or she's in a program, or she's been, working on her fitness. It's a new year. It's a new her. But what happens behind the glow up that maybe isn't so sexy because nobody sees the journey, right? They just see that highlight reel of the end result. So we're talking about, this is for the woman who keeps hearing about the glow up, and there's actually a whole lot that happens before the glow up.
Yeah, so this is like the real kind of work, right? Like the stuff behind the scenes, the quiet stuff, I like to call it like the embarrassing,
the unsexy,
the embarrassingly small reps, right? Like the stuff that like you wouldn't want to lay claim to or necessarily like think that you would be worth celebrating. It's the uncomfortable stuff. So it's the stuff that takes us just outside of our comfort zone. And it's the one that nobody's really given applause to, but that's the shit that moves the dial. That's the stuff that builds the momentum over time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the unsexy stuff, right? This is the
unmarketable.
The stuff that you can't buy, honestly. That's what it is. Not the next greens juice or this or that, right? It's the unsexy stuff. It's the internal decisions, right? It's the boundaries that people are setting. It's the moments that when you realize like, oh God, this part is on me to do. Like, it's nobody else's job to fix this shit but me. And wait a second, how do I do that? Right? So it's all the internal.
Yeah, it's not meant to be like a big motivational episode, right? We're not like in your ass to be like, this is what you should be doing. It's like, it's not about doing more. It's about like, who am I becoming in the process? And that's just it, the process, right? Like I just had a conversation with a client today about if we are constantly focused on the finish line or thinking that we're arriving somewhere, every time we get that, that achievement that we tell us, if we just get here, then we're going to default to what was familiar, what was safe before. But it's like, if I could just look at it as just a benchmark along the way, and it's unlocking potential for the next thing for me, right? And now what are the next set of tiny reps that I can take toward that next benchmark? And it's just this ongoing journey. And I know people say all the time, like, embrace the journey. It's about the journey, not the destination. But it's true. Like it is true. And so if we can start to look at what the day-to-day steps are and not where am I trying to end up, then you're going to end up getting a lot further.
Yeah, the baby steps. I was actually talking about this with a client yesterday because she's like, there's this big gap, right? And I'm like, okay, well, that big gap that's there, we have to start to like pave our way and start those baby steps, right? That one brick at a time, putting it, and you don't just, we're not, what is it, that vampire movie, Twilight? We don't just jump like the vampires across. Like we gotta take steps to get there, and we gotta build that, right? So this is what happens when you stop avoiding the truth and you stop waiting to feel ready, and you're wanting to take messy action, and you're wanting to just show up and do it anyway. And you're like, it's kind of when you get sick of your own shit and you're like, okay, this is up to me to change, and I get to do that.
Yeah. So like, as you listen today, we're just asking you we're inviting you,
invitation,
right, to just be honest with yourself, right? Like ask yourself some real questions instead of that shame or that self-judgment. Like, can we lean into the curiosity? Can I get curious with myself?
Yes, right. Because this glow up that everyone's wanting, that's just the side effect. That is the byproduct of what doing these maybe uncomfortable pieces, right? Leaning into the feelings and letting it being honest with yourself and knowing that, okay, well, if I'm ready to make these changes, by not making these changes, I can't just jump to the glow up. Like I gotta do the work underneath it. So, uh,
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the work and what
yeah,
the
let's get
work
into
is
it.
not,
Let's get
right?
into
Because
it.
we talk a lot about awareness, and awareness is super, super important. And it is the first step, right? It's like I have to have self awareness in order to be able to create change or to identify patterns or whatever it is. But awareness is not the work itself, right? People want to have this whole identity around, well, I'm healing and
That
I'm
one.
aware of all the things, right? And I'm because I'm doing the work. And it's like, okay, are you actually doing the work? Are you doing the shit? Are you taking the action? Or are you just aware? It's the same thing when people have a goal and they're like, it's and this is actually like, this has been studied that when people say a goal out loud, they're actually convincing themselves that they're starting to do the thing
Mhm.
as opposed to just talking about it, right? And we always say, like, don't just talk about it, be about it. That's what we're talking about here. If you're just talking about it, then yeah, great, you're aware of it. You have awareness in your consciousness. Now you got to be about it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's like the difference here is like that reflection. So like you can have the awareness, but it's the reflection piece that matters, right? Are you listening to what's coming up in when it's in your awareness? Different things like therapy, right? Processing matters, like getting your nervous system involved. How is your nervous system responding? But awareness really is like that. I was talking about this with a friend today. That's like you said, the healing, right? It's almost like this turns into this protection mechanism of like, wait,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm in this incubator, like baking per se, to when I'm ready or I'm healed. And it becomes
Mm-hmm.
this hiding place that actually, where you actually never get to integrate. You don't get to, it never turns into a decision. It never turns into action for you to move out of that. Oh, I've taken this step. I'm aware now. Like, but now what are you doing with it?
Yeah, it's like you're unpacking or you're understanding, you can name the pattern, but then it still repeats because when I'm triggered, I'm just defaulting back to, well, I knew that. I'm aware of that. I understand it, right? Okay, cool. Now let's progress. Let's take it to the next phase.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. Great. You're aware. We get a star for that. And you know, the insight's very important, but the piece that you're really wanting to feel is that embodiment. And without the embodiment, it becomes this procrastination, right? It becomes this delayed thing that it's like it's another version of holding yourself back. It's dressed up as like I'm doing this deep work, right? And I know this shit well, okay? Like I'm doing this deep work on myself, but that work is the real work is integrating it. The real work is catching yourself in the moment because you have the awareness, right? And learning how to hold space for those feelings and then learning how to choose differently, right? And when you can see, I actually had an experience over Christmas where I recognized within my own family, like, yeah, I'm handling shit different and it's uncomfortable,
Mhm.
but it's
Yeah.
also it's because it's unfamiliar and like it doesn't have to be where I spiraled out of that. I'm recognizing, hey, I handled this different and it's still uncomfortable in a sense, but I made a choice, I set some boundaries and it wasn't at the cost of me. So like that real work is that feeling, is the learning, it's the choosing something different and then it's moving, it's taking action because that last piece, that action piece, if we don't do that, right, it negates everything. Like, why even do any of the first half, right? And so, what we want to do is we don't,
Because it feels good to talk about it.
yeah, yeah. Well, it feels good. It feels good to talk about it. Why? Because maybe that's something you're relating with other people on, right? And it's like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
understanding your struggle, or it's hard out here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it makes us have to it gives us narration, like it gives us being the narrator to like this experience that we're experiencing and hey, there's I needed to tell myself this a couple years ago, like people are also other people are also experiencing something other than you, like you're not the only one and this is also a choice. You're choosing to stay there if you don't do anything with this.
Yeah, I think a lot of people experience this over the holidays. And if you get curious with yourself, it's very easy to acknowledge that it is easier just to go back to the default pattern, right?
It
It is
is.
easier just to say, I'm just going to handle shit the way that I used to, whether it's people pleasing or giving in or self abandonment or whatever it is, right? Like
Mhm.
all those tendencies or defensiveness or, being avoidant, whatever the old default was, of course it's going to be easier to go that route. But
Yeah.
the reason that people stay there is because awareness can feel really productive, right? I
Mhm.
can tell myself that I understand my demons. I know what I'm dealing with. I have all these things figured out, right?
I've healed
But it
that.
doesn't,
I've healed that.
yeah, it doesn't require taking any risk. The risk happens in the action, in the movement, in the change, right? In the pattern interrupt. That's where it feels a little bit unsafe, a little bit outside of our comfort zone. But it's also where we're going to get the most growth and we're going to get so much closer to the outcome that we actually desire.
Yeah. Staying in that same place, we're going to keep stepping on that same shit, right? We got to do something
Yeah.
different. And when you choose something different, reflect on that, right? Like, see how that felt. Try it on. Here,
Celebrate it.
yeah, celebrate. Like the fact that you can, if you have awareness to have awareness around things, you can also have awareness of where you did something different, right? And
Yeah.
it's like this, you've already gained that skill. So you're not backtracking when when it's time to do different. You've built that, and so now it's adding in that next piece, right? That next, sometimes that just looks like one foot in front of the other, and going back to the basis of like it, the work doesn't change, but your response to the work does. Right. So,
Yeah.
like, it's just having, like, if you're not liking that default, well, we got to try something different because what you've been doing, it's got you here. We want to intentionally in this episode give you guys some things to reflect on. Right. So, as I want us to pause here for a second and I want you to answer honestly as you're listening, wherever you are, even if it's just in your head. A couple questions, especially as we're into the new year. What do I complain about most that I actually have the power to change, but I haven't yet? And that answer to that question may be really deep or it may be surface level, but whatever it is, this is where you get out your pen and paper and maybe run this portion back, like back us up a couple seconds and write that question down. Good
Yeah.
questions.
It's probably not going to feel good. You're probably going to get an instant stink face when you think about it.
Yeah, you probably
That's
will,
okay.
but that's okay. That's really key to, okay, I got to lean in here, right? So,
Hmm.
good questions are going to, like, this is kind of where you get to coach yourself a little bit, right? If I ask myself good questions, I don't need to just always have all the answers. I need to ask myself good questions and allow myself to feel whatever it is when it comes to that question. Another question for
Hmm.
you is, what is the hidden benefit? Which, God, the hidden benefit, that's the T right there. What is the hidden benefit I'm getting from staying stuck, right? Exactly where you're at, right? Because like Laken said, it's really comfortable to just stay there, to go back to that default pattern, especially maybe if your surroundings, everyone else is doing it around you, and maybe you're the only
Yeah.
one.
Your existing environment, if you have not made any changes, is going to be very conducive to staying exactly where you are.
Correct. Right. And it may feel, and this is the thing, I can relate to that. It may feel a little lonely, but you're deciding this for you, not for your environment. Like if that's not working for you, you got to be the one to change that first.
Well, and the
Um,
sooner that you make changes, the more time you give yourself to attract people that are more aligned with the shit that you're doing.
that part too. Yes. Right. So it may feel lonely in the moment, but that doesn't mean it's going to be lonely forever. Third question for you. How much of who I am is wrapped up in the problems I say I want to fix? Yeah, that one stings. That one stings. Like it's wrapped up like a Christmas present, like a bow, carrying all that trauma, right? And I get it. Trauma's a real thing. Yes. And we keep saying we want to fix these things, yet we're not taking action on doing them. So it's like, how much are we like addicted to that identity of ours that we've built around that, right? And most of the time for safety. We've done that for safety.
Yeah. Yeah. Or it's what feels safe, what feels comfortable. It's what's familiar. It's what I've told myself is acceptable.
Right. So with these, we're going to weave in these questions. I want you to make sure, go back at some point and write them down and answer honestly. This is an invitation for you. You don't have to if you
Yeah.
don't
And
want
thinking
to,
about
but
like
I think you'll want to.
when you're going through these, we're going to start to look at, okay, if awareness was the doorway, then decisions is stepping through it, right? It's that taking that action, taking that step.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's get into waiting to feel ready, right? We know this real
Yeah.
well. It's a lie. It's a bullshit lie.
Yeah. Um, I think
Why do we wait, Blake?
everybody, but a lot of women, right, are waiting for the day that they feel ready or confident or certain
Or skinny?
or, yeah, insert blank enough, skinny enough, pretty enough, smart enough,
Worthy
whatever it
enough?
is. Yeah. But that day is always going to be a moving target because I'm not clearly, more often than not, I'm not clearly defining it for myself. And I haven't even allowed myself to experience or appreciate what I have currently. And if I'm not willing to see where I'm currently worthy, then no matter where I'm at, I'm always going to tell myself it's not enough. I'm always going to tell myself that there's further I could go, right? If I'm constantly moving the target, that's what keeps it safe, right? Because if I always move it to this unattainable thing, then I never have to take the risk to get there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And ready is often this emotional response or this emotional permission we have to give ourselves. It's not something we're logically thinking about, right? Because it's not about it really being ready. Ready is delayed. It's delaying the action, right? So clarity is going to come after the movement, right? Not before it. And that's where sometimes that word ready or enough or whatever it is, whatever you're putting in front of it to delay the thing, it's another version of like emotional procrastination.
Yeah. And the thing is like nobody wants to be seen in the middle of their process, right? Nobody
Girl.
wants to be seen in the messy middle. It's like that's where all that imposter syndrome comes in. It's like the fear is if I'm being witnessed when it's small, when it's messy, when it's not what I want to be perceived as, then what does that mean about me? What are people going to think about me? How am I going to judge myself in that scenario? How am I going to hear somebody else's voice that I've heard pass judgment about somebody in a similar phase of their life, right? And I'm very guilty of this. I would rather just fly under the radar until everything is exactly as I said that it would be. And then it's like, oh, yeah, I've been doing that versus like be witnessed in the journey, right? And
Yeah, because
there is
being
something to be
witnessed
said about
is
that.
uncomfortable. Being witnessed is
Yeah.
uncomfortable, and it's when you're being witnessed in it where that's where like we sit like pause right there, like we're starting to create a story about what that means about us. Where it's like it's not easy, but yeah, allowing Laken has witnessed me here a lot mid process, right? Like in this unbaked version or whatever we want to think, right? But it's like that's also a part of the process is allow yourself to be seen trying
But
whatever.
that's the thing, you're always going to be in a, a pre-phase of what you want to be because as you get to that next level, you're going to want ideally, you're going to want
It's
more
constantly
growth.
leveling
And
up. Yeah.
yeah, and so if every time I tell myself I can't be seen in this phase because it's not done yet or I'm not whatever enough yet, then this is going to be a continuous thing. So it's like,
Right.
can I just accept that if I'm if I want to keep growing, there's always going to be a metamorphosis phase. There's always going to be that ugly cocoon shit before I get to the butterfly, and
Mm-hmm.
then it's going to start all over again. And that's okay if I want to keep growing. If you want to stay exactly where you're at, then don't worry about it. You're
Yeah.
going to be seen exactly as you are.
Yeah. Can you meet yourself in the in between? Right? Meet
Yeah.
yourself in the in between where that glowed up version of you, it isn't perfect. That doesn't mean you've arrived, but she's decided, right? She did things up to get to that point. And, she chooses with what she knows now, right? And she learns that by like taking the progress photos, right? Like being in motion, right? Being in your journey, however long that takes, and allowing yourself to be seen, that it's like nobody just wants to see the end result, and actually sharing while you're on the way. That's where people get inspired. That's where
Yeah, I was gonna
people,
say that's the stuff that's the most magnetic, right?
yeah.
And that's coming more online and more the norm, I think, is like this big wave of everybody trying to seek authenticity, right? It's like being witnessed in fucking up
Mm-hmm.
and like being okay with it, being seen in their failure or like or at the least like paying homage to them, right? Like saying, yeah, this is where I am now, but this is what it took to get me here.
Correct.
And this is what this looked like at this point.
Yeah.
And that was hard, but it was worth it.
Yeah. And I
And
think
that's really
especially
important.
online, that is something where, you know, you're comparing people's chapter 75 to your chapter 5. And it's like,
Yes.
you know, you didn't see all the unsexy things that happen before the club. You're seeing the end result, right? You're seeing the highlight reel. But it's when people can share their journey while they're going through it, where, you know, a lot of women we work with are in, a program, like they're transforming something in their lives that doesn't work for them anymore. And while they're doing that, know that, you know, feeling ready or waiting for things to be perfect in order to take action is like, well, that's not really working for you, and allow others to see you doing it. So let's hit them with those questions.
Yeah. So when we're looking at reflection questions for being seen in your mess, right? What would I do if I stopped waiting to feel ready or have everything perfectly together first? Right? Like, what action would I take if I stopped waiting to feel ready?
Before you go to the next one, I want you to share, since you said you resonate with this, what is one thing you'd do? Let's give an answer here.
If I stopped waiting to feel ready or have it perfect first. Honestly, I've gotten a lot better with this.
You have.
Because I used to be somebody that had to be perfect before I would move.
Yeah, you have. I'm like, when you said you resonate with this, I'm like, I feel like I resonate with this more than you do.
I resonate in not wanting to be witnessed in it.
Okay.
So like, I'm going to take the action, even if I don't feel ready, or if it's not perfect, or if I'm not where I want to be yet, or if it's not going to be exactly as I like it. I don't like being witnessed in it.
Yeah,
so,
which
but that's also
opposite. I've
I was
gotten
gonna
more
say,
comfortable being witnessed in it, and I have to be reminded of like, send it, do it anyway, whatever. And I'm like,
yeah. And that's more of, from what, like, my personal journey, what I've been digging into is like, it's more of a fear of like being seen overall than it necessarily is in whatever phase that I'm in, right? Like, I'm just not historically someone that like wants to put my business out there, or to like, to allow people to have that level of access to me, right? And I think what I equate it to is, as more people witness me, it feels like more pressure to show up, right? It's like the weight feels a little heavier, and I have to reconcile that and recognize that that doesn't have to be the case. I can continue to show up as me with what I have, and that is enough. Right? It doesn't have to be heavier just because there's more eyes on it.
All right. Another question for you. If no one was watching my life, right? You didn't have the audience. Would I still be living it this way? Right? These are good
for
ones
me, yes.
For 2026. These are good. These are good questions. Okay, write this shit down.
Yeah, I think this is a really good question. I don't know that there's I don't know that I can name anything that I would be doing differently if no one was watching, because I'm pretty in my process.
But I mean, I think it's also too, it's not that you wouldn't be doing. Is there something that you would be doing if someone's watching, right? So it's like, it can be on both ends. Like, let me think of an example. Like, I don't know, would you have the extra dessert after dinner, right? Or like, would you, and not saying specifically you, but like just different things like that. Or would you, like, would someone's eyes, sometimes an audience makes you tighten up, right? And like do all the things, but then maybe you take that away. And so then what would happen if there was no one watching or witnessing or whatever? Would we, right? Like, we can fall into different narratives for both of it. So this question is like, if no one was watching, and just like, would you still be living whatever this is? Define what this is, and then give yourself that answer.
Yeah. For me personally, I think that I've lived my life as if no one's watching. Because most of the stuff I do is like what I really want to do.
Would you dance
I'm sure
like no one's watching? Like, well, you know what I mean? Things like that. Like, would you, like, you know, when you're alone in the house, I'm sure it's very different than when other people are there. So like, if no one, it could be any example like that.
Yeah, I'd probably rest more.
Yeah. That's a big one for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd rest more if I was completely left to my own devices.
And read more. She's a nerd, y'all. She'd be reading like these thick ass books. Okay. If no one ever knew about it, whatever it is for you, would you actually still want it? Right? If it didn't maybe
Yeah.
have whatever attached to it, would you still want it? If it wasn't the hype or whatever it is for you, would you actually still want it?
Yeah, this is a big one, I think, for most people, because a lot of times the things that we desire, we don't take the time to reflect on if we actually want it or if it's something that we've been told that we want or somebody else's goal that's been like pushed upon us or
Mm-hmm.
that we've taken on as ours. Um, Again, I don't think this is a good section for me because I kind of do what I do.
Okay, so to
Is there
wrap this
anything for
section
you that
up.
if no one knew about it,
Okay.
you would maybe not want it?
Mm. I like to think of maybe not currently, but when I was getting into human design, right? It's like no one did know about it and it is something I
Mm,
wanted. Or maybe when I was getting took my course to get my holistic nutritionist. It's like, okay, well, when that like no one was knowing I was doing those things, but it was really I wanted to get those things to have that credential, right? And
yeah.
if no one really knew about it, would I actually still want it? If it didn't need to have those credentials behind my name or whatever, right? Another hat on it, like would I actually have taken that course or could I have done something different with my time? Whatever, etc. Things like that.
Yeah.
Or even like I think also this has to do with like praise or like celebration, right? So like if no one ever knew that let's just take some of the cool shit we're doing. If no one ever knew we're started a podcast or right have offers where people can work with us or we're hosting a retreat, right? It's like it's being able to go back to those things that you're doing and like do you really want them for why you're doing them or are you doing them just because you think you're supposed to be, you know what I mean? Like no, this is
Yeah.
intentional, we know why we're doing this stuff. We're not just doing it because yeah, we're business owners and we're building a brand and all this, you know, like no, we actually want to do that. So I think the next level isn't unlocked by more thinking. It's really unlocked by that next brave step that's going to get you in the direction of where you're wanting to go. All
Yeah.
right. Who benefits from you staying the same? Next thing we want to talk about,
Hmm.
right? This is that one hits. That one is like,
Yeah.
whoa,
The smallness trap.
because there's people who
Staying
are used
small.
to you staying small, right?
Yeah.
And maybe it's people, it's dynamics, and it makes it very comfortable for you to stay there. And it's not always this malicious thing, but once you recognize, oh, the relationship changed because essentially I've changed, do I value that as much? Right?
Yeah. And like we mentioned before, like some environments are going to reward the version of you that's very predictable, that's
Mm-hmm.
very agreeable, that's like a people pleaser,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like you're
Takes on
going to
more.
receive a lot more positive reinforcement. That's why it's easier to stay in those patterns when we mentioned before with the holidays, right? It's like it's a lot easier to continue to do shit the same way, but that's not benefiting you.
Right. And sometimes it's like there's these pieces of yourself that you're burying. Burying? Is
Mhm.
that the word? Burying.
Yeah, like what does it cost you?
Yeah. You're burying to keep the peace. Where it's like, wait a second. No, I don't have to do that anymore. Like, stop shrinking. We don't.
Yeah, and it's really about like taking responsibility, right? Like this, it's not about blaming other people.
Mhm.
That's that victim shit. That's for
Yeah.
like, well, I have to do it because
Because
they'll, I'll have to deal with this bullshit if I
nobody
don't, or
else
they're
is
going to
going
react
to.
this
And
way.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, it's about noticing where do you keep negotiating your standards? Where do you keep negotiating what's important to you or your truth in order to like stay connected to these people that are not conducive to who you want to become?
Right. And this doesn't mean like take everyone out of your life who doesn't agree with you or whatever, right? It's like some people don't need to leave your life, but you also have to take ownership of they're not getting to decide it anymore. I have a client who we were talking about Christmas, right? And in her family is very used to her being a people pleaser, right? And just going with whatever everyone else wants. And where does that leave her? right? It was like, oh, well, me and my family's Christmas was ruined. And oh, it was just, it was awful. Like everything from the food to like all the stuff. And it just keeps you in that place where it's like, okay, well, because no boundaries were set, because there wasn't responsibility taken at first, what happened then? There was blame. Well, it was because these other people were there. And then what happens then? It's like, well, I need to remove myself from next year hosting it all. But then it's like, okay, well, what can happen maybe if that's something you still want to do before it gets to that point where, we can create some safety around making some changes and articulating those boundaries, because not doing so had it look like this.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So your invitation here is, who in my life makes it way too easy to stay small and stay playing it safe? The answer to that question? Yeah, that one might sting too, right? Because maybe these are people who have been in your life for a long time, right? Or that you want in your life, and that's okay, but have you ever asked yourself that question before? What version of myself did I bury in order to make people comfortable? I very much resonate with this, because growing up, there was tons of versions of myself that I would bury, just to make sure I didn't want to create waves. I didn't want to I didn't want to upset anyone, right? I never knew the reactions that I would get from certain individuals around me. And so, if I wasn't my full expressive self, it was like I could kind of like control, like see where their temperature's at and then decide how much I was going to do. So I learned that behavior. And once I started unlearning this behavior, it's like, no, I'm going to act however I'm going to act, and however someone else reacts to it, that doesn't mean a goddamn thing about me, and I can be myself. So asking yourself that question is like the one right underneath, where it's like, okay, well, now it's less about the people around you, but like, what are you bearing within you that you really want to be expressing, and you really want to be comfortable being yourself in around other people, right? That's authenticity comes in. Last question for you.
Do you feel like you're making yourself small for the comfort of others?
Yeah. Last question for you. What belief would I never this one, God, never let a loved one have about themselves, but I'm totally fine believing it about me?
Yeah. All the I'm not enough.
Right? Like if a child came up to you and said this, you would never want them to feel like that. It's so many moms, so that it's okay if they feel like that. And it's like, what is those ass backward things I've ever heard in my life? So
yeah, there's a lot of things that it's the same as, prioritization of needs. If I am willing to put everybody's needs before myself, it looks like I'm winning the martyr medal. But what am I showing the people that I care about? What am I mirroring to them? What am I modeling? And the glow up is often just you choosing yourself and being your own permission slip to show up fully.
This reminds me of a client this week. We worked a story, and she's actually a coach as well. And I'm telling you, I don't work with clients on accident, but you're going to laugh when I say this. One of the lines that we were translating, what she said it meant about her was that she can fix others, but she can't fix herself. And so that's what she's making it mean about her, of why she's, basically self-sabotaging herself and like not being able to do these things for her. But then she wants to create a program that's helping these other women with it. And I'm just like, that is where this lives, right? Like I could have these beliefs about me, or I would never want someone else to have these beliefs about themselves. But then when it comes to myself, I'm doing it. It's also a form of like self-abandoning. Like what are you telling yourself that you're unworthy of, which is why you feel that way, right?
Also, if there's shit that you're not willing to go into and face for yourself, lady,
It's
if you listen in, like you got to be able to do that for you so you can actually do it for other people.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Again, don't just talk about it, you got to be about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because when as she was reading her story, when we went through it, it was like, you know, she's pulling up all the stories or all the other stuff that has stood in the way and where she's been like expecting herself to have a different outcome. But until she was able to really address, well, I've just been repeating this pattern that I'll just help everyone else. And then when it comes to myself, like now I'm the only one telling myself that I can't do it. But just that one specifically reminded me of her. So
That's why coaching is so important. You know what I mean? Like, the thing of like coaches need coaches too. Everybody
yeah,
benefits from a coach.
yes, that's
It's
exactly what I told her.
certainly not
Coaches
going to
need
do
coaches too.
harm, right? Yeah, like I obviously know how to do this work very well, and I always prefer to do it with a coach.
Hmm.
I always will get more out of it doing it with a coach. There's always going to be things. It's just like if I do my own exercise programming, I don't like doing it because I know that there's going to be things that I'm biased or cherry picking or things that I'm going to try to avoid, right? It's like we all have that internal bias. And so to think that I have all the answers for me, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, so the glow up is often again, like said, you choosing yourself without the permission slip, and you deciding I'm going to be the permission slip, and I'm going to, the glow up happens when you make that decision.
Yeah.
Let's get into
Now we're
the
going to talk about
next
some
leak.
shoulding.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
the
common
open
word.
loops that happen when you should on yourself. So we all know what open loops feel like. They are unspoken truths, half decisions, that 1 foot, 1 out situation, obligations that you resent because you're not showing up as your authentic self. You're not showing up fully. You're doing things because you think you're supposed to. And it's like having a million tabs open in your nervous system. And I know what this is like on my computer because if y'all see my tabs, you would throw up on my keyboard. But it doesn't feel good.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't at all. It doesn't. And you wonder why you're so tired, but then it's like, well, what did I even do? Right? Because there's so many tabs open in your brain and so much shit running in the background that you're like having all this unfinished energy and you're just carrying that. It's like a whole bunch of these like dark clouds up here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
what you want is to move forward, take action, like get things done, right? But it's all these unfinished things where all those open loops, they're on their own hamster wheel, right? And they're giving you evidence of why you can't or why you're stuck or whatever until we start to close them. So the over explaining here, and the avoidance, right? Another loop can look like explaining yourself to feel safe, right? Or like softening your truth so that it lands easier. But the real work here is actually saying it clearly and letting people have their reaction. Kind of like that example I gave earlier of myself. Like this is a learned behavior that I grew up learning that that's how I had to act or be. But then that work is also the unlearning of that and knowing that anyone else's reaction, it doesn't mean a goddamn thing about you. It's none of your goddamn business. And, it's the unlearning it that sometimes doesn't feel so good. But once you do, it's like, oh, why did I ever operate that way? Like, mm-mm.
Yeah. And if you can audit that and just be really honest about any connection that feels like it requires self abandonment or feels like it requires you to betray yourself in some way or for you to, be lax on your boundaries or to not be able to hold to your morals, that isn't connection. That is a performance, right? You
Yeah.
are doing something for the perception of somebody else. You are outsourcing your validation. And that's not what true connection is. It's not how it's supposed to feel.
Right.
So, in reflecting on this, the questions that we're going to ask are, what am I still doing just because I feel like I should? That's completely draining parts of me. This is like putting all of our energy in the wrong place, right? Like when you mentioned the hamster wheels, like the way that I think about it is like if I had a car and I put the rear end of it on a jack and I slam the gas, right? I'm putting all this energy into the car. The engine is going, it's revving, it's turning the wheels, but I'm putting all the energy into the wheels that are not on the fucking ground. So I still can't go anywhere, right? I'm just running, and it's not going to get me anywhere, but it's still going to make the engine tired. It's still going to run out of gas at some point. And so it's like, where am I spinning my wheels that's not serving me? Where am I pouring energy into places that it's not getting me in the direction that I want to go in?
Yeah, where are those energy leaks located? And then when you identify them, okay, like, okay, well, once if I see where it's leaking, kind of like in your car, right? Where oil's leaking or whatever, I need to make a change. That's the indicator. This happens because it's wanting you to make a change here. Right. And I think, the piece you said about like performance, right? It's when you've done that and you've lived that for so long, it's like that's also attached to your identity, which is why that safety is like a big piece there, because that's where like some people operate in survival mode of like, well, I've learned I had to do this in order to stay safe. And then once you start seeing of like, oh, okay, I'm safe. I create my safety here within myself internally. And then, how people respond to me, that's not that connection of what you're looking for. It's like you wouldn't have that connection with them unless you're performing how they needed you to, right? So that's not actual safety within yourself, even though you think it is. Make no mistake,
like there's a reason that you do that. When you perform, you're gonna get positive reinforcement around that performance. You're going to get the positive feedback that you are seeking. That's why you do it. But is that feedback more valuable to you than your own truth?
And a lot of time it's like maybe you're not in the state to be giving yourself feedback that way, because like if that shit talking voice in your head is really loud, it's maybe negative.
Yeah.
So
all right, the next question is, what's the conversation I keep avoiding that I know would change everything if I just had it? Everybody has an uncomfortable conversation that they are avoiding.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, or just avoiding
usually one that's like a lead domino.
Yeah, I mean, it's usually like the thing is in those avoidant tendencies is no, like everyone has them. It's just like where do you express them most? Like, is it in relationship?
There are going to be some conversations that you can deem that are not worthwhile having. That's totally justifiable, right? Like how much, there's going to be a cost to it. How much is that cost, and is the potential for a positive outcome in your favor, right? There are some conversations that you are avoiding for a reason, and that may mean that you're not actually avoiding it. You may feel resolved in that. Right. As long as you're not wanting a different outcome that you can't control on your own. That's the key. But if it is something that you feel like you could get some positive traction with, if you just had the conversation, if you were just vulnerable enough, if you were just curious enough, if you asked the question that you ask everybody else when you say, like, I don't know why they don't just do this. I don't know why they just don't understand. Well, have you asked them? Almost every time I ask that question to a client, I say, no.
Yeah, they'll avoid asking them.
Yeah.
I think what's
last question. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think what's interesting about that, it's like it's not that you're giving them like groundbreaking, like, oh, maybe I should do that. Like I never thought of that, right? But it's like, oh, I didn't even feel safe. It's the same thing with the need. Like, I don't even feel safe saying that this is a need that I'm requiring or that I'm having, right? But then too, I think why people avoid is a multitude of different reasons. And if you can sit with that avoidance for a second, recognize that you're doing that. And then some people, I would also say, like, some people avoid, maybe because they're overthinking and spinning their wheels for themselves. But it's like leaning into the vulnerability, again, the feelings piece is what most people don't want to do.
Well, a lot of times it's not modeled. It's not something that feels available or is even safe. It's never been viewed as an option or a way to solve conflict.
Mm-hmm.
avoidance has been the only thing that's been modeled,
Right.
right? How often do you see conflict initiated in households, but you never see the resolve? Even if it happens behind closed doors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because people let their pride get in the way.
Mm-hmm.
And if we were to see more resolution, then we could model better behavior for our younger generations.
Yeah, for sure. And resolution doesn't, like, when it comes to expressing emotion or being vulnerable, right? It's like that has an association of weakness attached to it.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay, well, if I'm vulnerable, then like it opens you up to, it puts that guard down. And maybe that, and then I think that's why people don't feel safe doing it. But it's like, this is where leaning into that vulnerability and knowing that the emotions that you're feeling mean nothing about you. It's like, that's where it comes in. It's huge. Last question. Did you said the last question?
No, not yet.
Oh,
Would the version of me I'm trying to become be proud of how I spent today? And this can be said many different ways. One that I like is like, if I were to be, at the edge of my life, like, in my 80s and looked back at today, what would I
why
tell myself to
80s?
stop doing? Because at that point, you're probably done doing a lot of shit that you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like at that decade, you're in reflection mode.
Okay.
Like you're probably not setting a whole lot of goals for yourself other than sustainability and longevity at that point. Right? Maybe not.
I'm just saying, 80. I'm like, the way you live your life, we gonna make it to 80. We gonna be doing bingo, all the things.
Yeah, I'm going to live over 100, but I'm taking it easy after 80. I'm not going to be as I'm not going to apply as much pressure to myself. I'm relieving all the pressure
Oh
after
God.
80. I'm going to claim it now.
You're waiting until 80 to do that shit? Nah.
Yeah. Yeah. So then if I were to reflect backwards and look at what am I doing today? How am I spending my time today? Am I making that version proud of me? Is there something that I would stop doing? Is there something that I would start doing? All right. When I'm that girl at 80, what's she going to be telling me that she wishes I would have been doing? Right. Or what is she going to be clapping for? What wins is she going to be celebrating? And it's like thinking about that, how we spend our time, how we're allocating it. What are we investing in?
Yeah, for sure. So clarity here, right, doesn't come from adding more. I think we want to just keep adding more to our plate, doing all the things, but it's actually revisiting those loops that are open and closing them, because that's also closing those loops also gives us more evidence. Closing those loops also allows us to know, okay, like this was open for a while, I could revisit this and move forward.
Yeah.
Right. So let's talk about, in a previous episode, we talked about devotion and discipline, right? And the differences there. Let's talk about a devotion versus motivation. We hear a lot that, I just wish I had more motivation, or, motivation's fleeting, that it's not something that's going to stick around all the time. And that's why it's more emotional. And devotion is that structure, which is built based off the discipline that we talked about, right? So the glow up here isn't this vibe that you're either one or the other, like you're always motivated or you're in like constant devotion. It's the consistency without the emotional regulation, right? So
It's finding your rhythm. It's not feeling the need to reinvent yourself over and over again. Like, don't keep starting
yes.
over. Just don't stop.
Yeah. Yeah. And if it needs to change based on whatever day that is, like, keep going. We don't have to stop because it doesn't look the same every single day. There can be a version of that or a flavor of that depending on what you need that day. Which I think that's where like people get caught up in the emotions, because it's like, oh, well, if I lean into softness here, vulnerability, or if I give myself rest, right? Or if I do all these things, then I lose like the structure side of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then where do I start falling into these self-abandonment patterns?
Yeah, it requires both.
Yeah. One, trying to do one without the other is never going to feel like, what did we say? Like it never feels like freedom. It doesn't. You're in constant chase of the other. So a couple questions here.
What would I do differently if I stopped caring what everyone else thinks of my choices? very similar to previous questions, where essentially, like, if there wasn't external pressure, if I wasn't looking for external validation, if I wasn't worried about everybody else's perception of me, what would I change? What would I do differently?
What's the thing I'll be sitting here in 5 years wishing I started right now?
Yeah. Going back to the not waiting until you're ready.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. This is what we've done a good amount of questions on this one. This is good, right? We talk about all the time New Year's questions. Instead of resolutions, give yourself some New Year's questions of things to reflect on, what you do want to be doing. You may not have it all figured out, but turning it into a question allows your RAS to start looking for evidence of how you can do that, right? So the piece here with the softness and needing the structure and the devotion and the motivation, the discipline, right, is that strong container is the discipline, and soft women require strong containers, which is, I mean, I was having a conversation with a friend today, and we were talking about how, like, with men, they're like this well, right, the container, and the woman are like the water, right? And it's like, this is why, like, yes, women want to create that within themselves, right? But this is why, like, in partnership, right? Can I feel safe enough to be the water and know that I have a container there that is supportive of that, right? And that allows me to be soft, and that's the work, especially for a woman. So, okay, I want you to imagine that it's the end of 2026. You're looking back at what, I know we're just starting it, but you're looking back at maybe this season in your life. And you're not looking back with it in shame or guilt or what you did or what you didn't do. You're looking back at it with like a fresh set of eyes, with clarity, right?
Yeah. What did you stop tolerating? What did you choose for yourself? And what is the thing that you did even when you were uncomfortable
Mm-hmm.
on your growing edge?
Mm-hmm. Yes. If 2026, final question for you, if 2026 could send you a text message right now, right? Maybe this is from at the end of this year, what that will look like, mid-year, what it looks like in a month. If 2026, the year itself, could send you a text message, it's the year of the horse, what would it say? That's a fun prompt. I like that one.
What would yours say?
What would mine say? I don't know. Hold on. You gotta give me a second. What would mine say? The first thing that comes to my mind is that, you've been closing the loops, and you're also being open, like more doors are being open to the aligned things that you're wanting. If you just keep going and keep showing up anyway. What about you?
Yeah, similar. Mine was just don't stop.
Dead okay, all the listeners, all the audience listening, like, it's just the contrast is so funny sometimes between us. I fucking can't. But yeah, look, let it be honest, let it be simple like Lake is. It can be one little mantra, right? But most importantly, let it be true. Whatever what it would say is like, yeah, there's going to be some truth to that, and take that into account of what that looks like for this year. So,
yeah, breathe and don't stop. So, ladies, if this felt like a mirror for you, good. All right. Let it challenge something. Let it be a reason for a pause. Let it support you. Let it be there for self-reflection. It is important.
You didn't listen to this episode on accident. Okay. It was intentional why it came out. Let whatever came up for you in this episode be the sign that you're standing on a new edge. Maybe you're pushing a new edge, right? You're trying to change something, and it doesn't have to be this dramatic one of like, I'm on this healing journey and all this. No, right? It could be a quiet one, and it can be one that, by paying attention to this new edge, can be the thing that starts that momentum and starts creating that change over time.
Yeah. And you're not doing this alone. You are not doing this alone. We are here as a supporting structure. I promise you, if you had these conversations, these deeper conversations with other women in your life, and you were the permission slip to be able to bring this shit to the table, they would have stories for your ass too.
Yeah. So the real work that's required behind the glow up, I want to make sure we take time before we go to touch on. This is the kind of work that we are creating we've intentionally created this space at our Peace, Play, Love retreat in Costa Rica this June, right? 7 days in the Costa Rican jungle. Like we've created this space for you. And if you're ready to do this work, this is your invitation.
Yeah. Slow down, actually do the work, be in a space, an environment that's actually conducive to doing the work, find your clarity, let your nervous system down regulate, allow yourself to be held and to be cared for, and have intentional daily practices that you can take home with you.
Yeah, that's the key piece, right? The 7 days that you're out there, yeah, you're going to be doing some shit, but you're taking this home with you. This is not just, oh, I'm doing this while I'm on the retreat and then I go back to regular life. We're upgrading what your default is, right? And we're not here to perform. We're not here to fix you, but we're here to give you the space so that you can hear yourself clearly and decide what you want to do with that. If that's choose different, great. We're here to help.
Yeah, so if you haven't taken a look, that information is on our socials. We'll also link it below, and make sure that if you're interested, you reach out to us, book a discovery call. If you have any questions, there are direct links to go ahead and purchase there directly. But if you have any questions or need any information at all, we are available as a resource for that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So you can find all the details, like she said, on our social and apply through the link in our show notes. If it's been on your heart, if you've heard it on a previous episode, you've seen it on our socials, there's a reason that it's calling you. Trust that. Reach out to us for sure.
Yeah. And then we also want to remind you guys of our new segment.
Yes. Request that reframe, right? Request that remix.
Yeah. So if there's a story that you're stuck in, a situation that you want a different perspective on, you can submit that anonymously. And there's a link in the show notes. There's also a post that we made about it on IG. So please take a look at that and feel free to submit that. And we are happy to hash it out on the pod for you guys.
Yeah, take it to the pod. It's also in the link in our bio on Instagram. So it'll be in the show notes, but if you go to our Instagram, you can just submit it directly there. We're excited. We're excited to break it down on future episodes. And know that if you have a dilemma, right, or if this episode at all supported you, right, the easiest way to support us, gosh, we'd be so grateful, is to subscribe, rate, review, follow us, and more importantly, share it with a woman who's doing this work quietly, because
yes,
maybe she's looking for that community, right?
Yes. Yeah. And guys, it means the world to us. It really does. It's only a little bit of your time. So please, if you do get a chance, please rate and review. It does make a big difference, and we really, really appreciate it. And we read all of them.
Yeah, we do. I need to also say this because the wrap came out after we did our Celebrating the Wins episode last episode. And we ended the year with like 529 downloads. We were in 19 countries, which I was like, hell yeah, we international. And we hit the top 50%. And we've started the podcast for 2 months. November 5th, we started it. So it's like, hell yeah, that's something to celebrate. And we are just happy and thankful you guys are a part of it.
Thank you, ladies.
Yes, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye. When was the last time you felt truly clear and at peace?
Maybe you've been asking yourself, why can't I just feel peace?
Most of us don't just need another escape. Vacation is great and all, but what we really need is integration.
When's the last time you gave yourself permission to play? As adults, we don't do that enough. And this is to be messy, curious, maybe even a little wild, like the little girl you used to be. She's still here. She's just waiting for you to say it's safe to come out again.
That's why we created Peace, Play, Love. For 7 days in the Costa Rican jungle, luxury meets real life with story work, somatic practices, and nervous system tools that help you not just reset here, but take that peace home with you.
I've been bringing women to Costa Rica for years because this land and the people have been a part of my own healing journey. And all of us have left transformed for the better.
At Peace, Play, Love, we'll slow down together, we'll breathe, we'll meet the guilt, the shame, the exhaustion, and learn how to alchemize them into permission, into softness, into peace that you can actually feel in your body.
This retreat is deeper than a pause. We're not just unplugging you, we are rewiring you.
I've witnessed women, these women, laugh from the depths of their souls, feel reconnected to who they truly are, tear up from actually taking in a sunset, and watching as their shame, their stress, and fears all float off into the great beyond.
You'll map your next season with clarity and leave with insight to keep your nervous system regulated and your choices aligned long after you return. We keep it small on purpose, just 9 women, each supported through high-touch coaching, sisterhood, and real community.
The women who come, they're do-it-allers. They show up no matter what. They climb the mountain with the weight of the world on their back and a smile on their face, because that's just what they do. But they're looking at this next chapter of their life, and they know that they don't want it to feel like the last 5 did.
You don't have to hold it all anymore. You don't have to keep proving you're okay. This retreat is your safe place to land, and it's your invitation to play again.
There's something magical in this land that helps you find the magic in you. The light turns on, the weight lightens, and from there, you decide what the next chapter will be and who you will be inside of that on your terms. This is the magic of saying yes to you.
If you're craving calm and clarity that sticks, this is your invitation to join us in Costa Rica in June. Come exhale with us and remember who you are beneath the noise.